All right. It has been a bit of a hectic 72 hours for me. I had a friend's wedding yesterday that I had another friend coming up to stay with me uh, to be a part of said wedding. And I just saw them off this morning and got maybe 2 hours before the announcement of the next set joining Revolution was made. Congratulations to Cajun on GQ Chaos Reigns getting into the format starting January 1st of next year. I have begun work on the set review that should be coming sometime this week, hopefully, if I can keep a good momentum on that. But for now, we have Tournament Magic to play. We are up against Itai Ukul, which I hope I'm pronouncing correctly, and uh, Itai is on Stasis's Jund Cardshark deck list that they made it into deck lists with as the first player to make it into deck lists this month. Stasis not able to participate in this tournament, so is living vicariously through Itai, and was also living vicariously through Tomas, who unfortunately will no longer be able to make top cut, and Itai, unfortunately, has to knock me out to make it to still be in contention, as Itai and I are both 1-1. So looking at opening hand, I've got Gates, Grant Harbinger, Twilight Ambush, Void Mist. I'm gonna keep this. I can go turn 1, Granite Harbinger off of a swamp, turn 2, Gloomcover Step, swing the Harbinger, and then Void Mist Prodigy, eat the Harbinger. Go search up another Harbinger, and then that lets me gates on turn 3 while playing Harbinger and leaving up Ambush, or just seeing what else is going on. This deck is one that runs a bit of hand attack. Yeah, runs Phoenix's Touch, Maddening Maw, so they're going to kind of shred my hand the old-fashioned way. Just making me discard things of my choice. So this Dormant Temple is likely going to be my first discard target. And there's the Phoenix's Touch. So we're going to go ahead down to 19 and pitch this Dormant Temple. We will draw our 1 of Mountain. So let's go ahead and go Swamp into the Granite Harbinger and pass. In the event of another targeted discard, I may very well pitch the Mountain here. Fact of the matter is, I don't think this is going to be a matchup where I'm super keen on having the Mountain. This is a Dawnglade Wild Bear coming down here. That is not going to be something our Twilight Ambush can pick off. This ambush is going to get sideboarded out in game 2, I think. We will draw a Swamp. This Mountain is definitely going to be what's going to the Phoenix's Touch here. We will play Gloomcover Step. Combat. Swing 1 in the air. Then main 2. You're going to Void Mist Prodigy. And deal 3 to our opponent. Going to get another Granite Harbinger to the hand here. And Void Mist just going to kind of sit and dissuade this Wild Bear from getting into the red zone a little bit. Potentially problematic is a Speaker of Ash coming down here and discarding a 2-mana value permanent, or 2-mana value card, at which point that forces us to sack the Void Mist, but they're just going to burn the Void Mist anyways. Kind of cool to see a Ferocious Flame go popped on the Void Mist here, because that is 4 damage that isn't getting pointed at our face here, but we will still take 4 from the Wild Bear, and they're going to pick up the Phoenix's Touch, unsurprisingly. So what's happening here? I may pitch the Swamp here, actually, over the Mountain. Oh, second Wild Bear. Interesting. That's going to be a problem. Yeah, again, Twilight Ambush just not really cutting it on removing these Wild Bears. And unfortunately, our other removal is not going to really cut it either. So we'll draw. Dishonor does actually get there. All right, that's interesting. So I think I would like to. Hmm. I can play the mountain. I'm going to play the mountain. I'm going to Granite Harbinger. And I'm going to dishonor the Dawnglade Wild Bear. So that is dropping it down to a 3/1. Still can get in for 3 damage, so not irrelevant. But if they want to push damage with it, they will have to pick up a permanent besides this Wild Bear. Because it will be dead to combat damage. It will be dead to state-based actions. It'll be exiled to state-based actions. I'm going to hold up this Twilight Ambush otherwise. Still other things that could be coming down. But yeah, the ambush is really awkward. Succumb is going to be really awkward here. Event Horizon really is our best removal spell in this matchup. This is very much a case of our particular removal suite being very tuned for decks that are smaller than this. We'll go ahead and pitch this Swamp. Notably, pitching lands does... Oh, there's a Phynax's Touch. I think... I just gotta pitch the Twilight Ambush here. I want to hold this Gates to the Underworld if I can. They're gonna go to combat. Swinging both. I would like to make this block. I will take 6. Lose Dishonor, Granite Harbinger. We'll search up another Granite Harbinger. And I think if they then turn around and replay one of these Phynax's Touches with a land drop on second main. Oh, New Divide tapped. Oh, yeah, they're shocking New Divide. Okay, so we know exactly what's in their hand. It's 2 Phynax's Touches. Not going to be irrelevant. You know, we do have to figure out what we're doing around all of that. But this is going to just force the Granite Harbinger out of our hand. We'll play the Gates to the Underworld. And have to figure out what to do from there. Yep, we take 1. Goodbye, Granite Harbinger. So there's the 1 more in the deck. We untap, we draw. Phynax's Confidant. Not super stellar. But it does mean we have something we can play that gets us to an empty hand, and it does mean that a land draw is not enough to activate Gates. Okay, yeah, we're in a bit of trouble. Actually, do I have any ways out of this? Let me load up my deck real quick. Downside of this matchup, I did not test for this matchup because of everything that has been going on in the last 72 hours of my life. So this is not a matchup that I was particularly equipped for, and you are seeing the result of this. So Heroes Never Die as a draw doesn't exactly get me out of this. It gets Dishonor on Dawnglade Wild Bear. Succumb is going to miss the Wild Bear. Raise Rampage buys me time by giving me 6 life and pushing 6 damage. I'm just trying to make sense of... I can pass turn, actually, here while I'm thinking. Yeah, so Dishonor buys me a little bit of time just by shrinking down the Wild Bear. Smirk soaks up a lot of damage, but we don't have the ability to play our evil plan right now. Void Mist buys me a bit of time. Yeji is awkward with no cards in hand. Yeah, this is a rough matchup. I'm a little worried I might get kicked out of the tournament here. Event Horizon is definitely going to get boarded in. But we do not have it right now. We're just going to take 4. They're just going to pick up Fenax's Touch. And they've got 2 of those in hand and 1 unknown card. And not playing the Fenax's Touch first main or cracking their Fenax's Touch makes me wonder if they are just going to play something else, and that's a Conjoined Irradiant. I suspect this is going to be discarding both of those Fenax's Touches now that my hand is empty. Yep. And I called it. So that's going to be draw 2, crystallize. And then tough thing here is they get to choose whether they want the counter or the treasure after seeing what they draw. Okay, yeah, they've chosen the +1/+1 counter, and they drew a land and a 2-drop, an Ominous Slaughter, which is going to make me sacrifice this Fenax's Confidant, and that is going to be almost certainly curtains here. We'll untap and draw. That's a Void Mist Prodigy. All right, that's a GG. Rough game 1. So it's going to be an uphill struggle here. Definitely going up the event horizons here. Definitely going down the removal here. We can maybe think about keeping a Succumb to History or 2, but these are really not going to be super great here. The Dishonor is better. So let's take a moment here and actually go ahead and look at the deck here. So Itai is on Wild Bear, Morbid Bloomer, Speaker of Ash, Conjoined Irradiant, Rogue's Palace, Cardshark as their main deck, with a sideboard of Skarn the Bloodless, Hardy Rough Rider, Crux Chainer of Titans, Memory Hostage, Climb to the Peak, Soul Guide Lantern, and Hugo's Handiwork. They've got 1 Garen, 3 Glauna, 4 Ferocious Flame, 4 Fenax's Touch, 4 Maddening Maw, 4 Ominous Slaughter, as well as 24 lands. So Wild Bear, Speaker, and potentially Irradiant can all be outside the range of Succumb to History. The creatures they have in their sideboard are not going to be out of range, and then they have Cardshark and Morbid Bloomer that also aren't going to be out of range. But Garen and Glauna do dodge our core removal suite, which is a bit of a problem. And of course, Irradiant, rather than buffing itself, can also just buff Cardshark or Bloomer out of range of Succumb to History. Can buff potential sideboarded Hardy Rough Rider out of range. So there's a lot to be concerned about here. I think the most promising thing is just that I think our opponent is going to have some trouble figuring out what to board out because their deck is pretty good angled up against us. I want Agonizing Remorse. I want Transgress Identity. And I think Yeji's not as stellar here because multiple spells is really awkward. I think let's go down to 3 Dishonors. Let's go down the mountain. I think I still want Raise Rampage because Void Mist Prodigy is a way that we're going to scam our way out of this, but I don't think I'm ever playing Rampage. I think I'm just raising. So 2 Transgress, 3 Agonizing Remorse, 4 Event Horizon. We could look at the Memory Hostages. Sorry, I just realized I have not moved back, but could look at the Memory Hostages to maybe just like pick out the Glaunas or pick out the Wild Bears or the Speakers or the Ominous Slaughters. Picking out the Ominous Slaughters or the Ferocious Flames does limit our opponent's ability to fight our board, but they are just going to be able to fight our board by outscaling it. So let us just kind of lock in this sideboard plan. So out 1 Yeji, Dishonor, the Mountain, out the Succumbs and the Twilight Ambushes for 4th Event Horizon, 3 Agonizing Remorse, and 2 Transgress Identity. Let's go. I will play. This is not a good opener. They do not have anything that I could be dishonoring on turns 1 or 2. I'm going to mull to 6. This is an awkward hand to see here on the mull to 6. Gonna probably keep 6 put a Confidant to the bottom and just play step tapped on turn 1. Move to bottom. Main 1, step tapped, and pass. Do not love Dormant Temple hurting me here, but this is kind of just the price that you pay for having 3 copies of Dormant Temple in your deck. Is that sometimes you need it for mana early, and you're going to just kind of pay the price life-wise. Love seeing Tap the New Divide here, because that gives me the opportunity to draw and think about if I want to Agonizing Remorse or just develop Finax's Confidant. And I think the answer is I'm going to go to 18. Wild Bear Omen Omen. That is very nice to see. So that's going to get exiled, and we're going to take 1. We've got 2 Omens and 4 lands to worry about. So the Omens are going to stem the tide a little bit here, but not going to be too impactful. Interesting that they draw without cracking there when their hand is what it is. I would have figured, crack for a swamp beforehand, try and minimize the chance of drawing. Oh, they top deck the Phoenix's Touch. We will take 1. And I think I want to hold the Event Horizon. The Omens plus Phoenix's Touch means that Event Horizon will find purchase on pretty much anything they have for the rest of the game, until they start cracking these. But I will probably have some time until then. I think it's going to be pitching Void Mist Prodigy, so that way my Raise Rampages I could draw are live, and my Heroes Never Die is live. I'm going to pitch the Void Mist Prodigy. Would love to see an untapped land here. That's going to push me down 3 life to 14, but that is going to mean I can do New Divide, Granite Harbinger, Phoenix's Confidant. That does strand the Event Horizon in my hand, but they do not currently have a way of getting the Phoenix's Touch back, so they would have to draw one of their other ways of making me discard. Also, I can clear this reliable market. So let's shock in New Divide. Just take the extra 1 for the Granite Harbinger. Crack. Go find Swamp. And play Confidant. And pass. Opponent continuing to hold on to this New Divide, waiting to see what they might need it for. So 1 unknown card in our opponent's hand. That Agonizing Remorse really did change everything. There was a consideration for taking Omen of Slaughter and leaving up the Event Horizon, but and like being able to Event Horizon the Wild Bear, but I think this just kind of works out better. Because at this point, we're kind of just trying to grind the game out. And I feel like we're sitting in a much more comfortable position to do so. So our opponent's thinking... Okay, they are cracking New Divide now. I'm curious to know if there's like a sideboard reason for them to not want to crack it immediately. I'm not seeing anything that would indicate as such any reason why they might want to hold off. So I suppose it might just be like them thinking about their mana considerations. But even then, oh, they're just cracking Phoenix's Touch to draw a card. Interesting. And they will play a Decadent Hall, which is not one of the cards we knew about in their hands. So one of those 2 draws was a Decadent Hall. Interesting. We're going to untap and draw. Dormant Temple. We have a choice to make here. We can develop the Dormant Temple, push ourselves closer to the 5 lands to start cracking the dormant lands. or we can hold on to that in the face of a potential Fenax's Touch or Maddening Maw. I think, especially since we'll have the mana up for Event Horizon anyways, I'd like to just wait and just Event Horizon the Maddening Maw or Fenax's Touch in response if need be. So let's play the Dormant Temple. Go to combat and shove 3. And pass. Kind of having awkward opposite issues, my opponent and I. They are flooding out and getting stuck with a bunch of cards in their hand that they don't have use for. We are struggling. Struggling just a little bit. High likelihood that our opponent just goes Omen of Slaughter here. Yep, we see Mountain. They are going Rogue's Palace, Cardshark. So either one of their draws last turn, presumably not their like immediate draw, but one of their draws last turn, or their draw this turn was the Cardshark. So they're going to go ahead and put the Shark into play, put the top 4 cards into play face down, and then ship them over to us. So peek at card face. It's a Dawnglade Wildbear, a Speaker of Ash, a Rogue's Palace Cardshark, and a Glauna Decadent Demon. I think the best thing I could do here, because there's like 3 hits here, right? There's the Wildbear, there's the Speaker of Ash, there's the Glauna. So the best thing I could do here is think about which one 3-drop is the most powerful here? Which I think is Glauna. And then we offer Speaker Wildbear. It sucks. It's really bad. But if we offer Speaker Wildbear, they either take it, at which point maybe they sack the Wildbear to just clear the Confidant, or more realistically, they pitch an Omen to clear the Confidant. Or they think, you know, if this is what they're offering me, the face down pile must be even better. At which point they get Cardshark and Glauna. Alternatively, what if I pile all 3? What if I pile Wildbear, Speaker of Ash, and Cardshark just to kind of say, like, really don't want you to have this, and then they take Glauna? Because that could be amazing for me. If that, like, I think where I want to be is convincing them to take 1 card. So I think it's going to be Wildbear, Rogue's Palace, Cardshark, and then I have to decide if it's Speaker of Ash or Glauna. And I think it's going to be the Speaker? Either of these pops Fenax's Confidant. I think, because I also need to consider if they end up taking the pile with Wildbear, which would I rather them have with Wildbear? And I think the answer is Glauna. Because if they go to combat before activating, I can Event Horizon it. So I'm not going to say a word. We get a wow from Itai. They're presumably going to go in the tank and think about what is this 1 card that is face down. Yep. That is perfectly fine. There you go. Have your Cardshark and Wildbear. Or sorry, your Cardshark, your Wildbear and Glauna. I figured, you know, if I do the 2/2 pile, there's a likelihood they take the face up pile anyways. This is just gonna be what's best for me. That was a nightmarish card shark though. Like our opponent was kind of just struggling on cards for a while, and then in an instant they are back in this, and that's the power of card shark right there. And so I'd love to tap lands and Event Horizon, but our opponent has priority right now. Yeah, I think this is going to be the end of my run, unfortunately. I really this is kind of the and we'll get into it more in the final thoughts, but this is very much a showing of I went into this tournament anticipating one thing and got vastly outmaneuvered by the field, just not expecting persist to be a thing while I was preparing for it to be the thing. Um and that's fair enough. And to be fair, there were two persist decks in the field. And also, to be fair, one of those persist decks is currently in contention to make top cut. They're going to go ahead and make an imp. Interesting. Let's... We can't double spell with the AG and Event Horizon anyways, so let's Event Horizon Clown it now. So if we draw a land, we have more mana to work with when cracking Dormant Temples. We'll untap and draw Minion. Let's Minion. And we don't get the Confidant trigger because it is mana value less than our Devotion to Black. So we will just pass. We are going to get omened here. We are 100% going to get omened this coming turn. I think I would scoop to a second Cardshark here. I think I would just see the writing on the wall and pack it up to a second Cardshark. This card truly is one of the most unfair cards in this format. And this, if anything, if anything from this tournament has to knock me out, I think it is pure justice and hubris on my part that I get knocked out by Stasis's Jund Cardshark list. Given that I opted out of discussing it in my like deck archetypes guide, and that was much to Stasis's disappointment because again was the first deck list to make it into, was the first person to get a deck into the deck lists channel this month, just getting their first 4-1 league. That is a Garen returned profit. You gonna sack the card shark, or you gonna eat your card shark in your graveyard to kill the minion? What's happening here? I believe the answer is you're omening to make me sack something before you make your choice on Garen, but second card shark is also going to be real rough. That agonizing remorse was so beautiful, so perfect, and then it all came crashing down. But I was right to leave them with the Omens of Slaughter, because they, like, as evidenced by the fact that they still haven't played either. They have not been in a position to play either, so I was definitely vindicated for taking that Wild Bear out of hand. But, that was the extent of it. It wasn't enough. Yeah, they're gonna just kill something with Garen right here, right now. They are shooting the Phoenix's Confidant. Sure thing. Exiling Speaker of Ash. I feel like I would have rather pitched the Rogue's Palace card Shark because you could always -1 Garen. We are sacking the Diabolical Minion here. As much as Minion gaining life here would be nice, they're going to go ahead and rumble in. Let's make a block here just to clear the imp off the board. So we are going to get to go to 7. We lose the Granite Harbinger, view library. We go get a Harbinger. They're picking up Omen, which is not a shock. So they've still got Omen farmland in hand. Untap, draw. In theory, this does buy a turn. So let's Agonizing Remorse. Alrighty. Yeah, we're dead. So we take out one Omen. They had the Cityscape in hand as well. Doesn't really matter. I'm gonna take one for Granite Harbinger. I'm gonna take one for a white. I'm gonna go to end step and lose the floating white. I'm dead. I'm dead anyways. They've got the Omen to slaughter. This is GG's. Yep. Gonna go ahead and just save us a bit of time here. Well, congrats to Itai. I know who I am rooting to see take down this GP now, and it's going to be the person who took me out. Rough match. Not the best draws to end this deck on, but this was also just a tough matchup in general, and I could have probably mulliganed a little bit better game 1 and game 2. So we'll get on to the final thoughts in just a moment and make sense of where we've landed.